Well, it's great to be able to meet again, and I'm glad you're able to meet with us here right in the middle of the week. And I trust the Lord is blessing in your life. I would like to encourage you to make sure you're in the evening service tonight at 7:30. I'm going to give just a few practical hints on how to keep technology under control during this time in which we're driven by technology, all that we're doing with education and communication through our services, even what I'm doing right now. All of this is causing us to be very much fixed on our technology, and there are some great dangers that can come about and habits that can be formed right now. So this will just be an introductory set of thoughts tonight. We'll probably talk about this much more later, but I would encourage you to join us, and then we'll have a good time of prayer tonight, asking God to overrule in all of these circumstances that are going on. Well, I want to encourage your heart today by the fact that God is wanting you to experience Him. He wants you to be able to know He is real. Trials are God's means of doing that. And so we have really a wonderful opportunity in the midst of disappointment, some real issues of problems that are coming into our lives economically. The fact we can't meet together, even families, extended families can't meet together, we can't minister, and there are many other things that are going on. In the middle of all of that, we really can rejoice that this very trial will teach us how real the Lord is. Folks, let's just face it, we live in the temporal realm. I mean, we just are that way. You know, what we see, what we hear, what we touch, how we feel, these are all things that are very much what is reality to us. And so one of the hardest things for us is to have spiritual reality dominate. And God knows that this is difficult for us, and that's why trials are important. And He wants us to understand that spiritual reality is true reality. As 2 Corinthians 4 said, we need to not look at the things that are temporary, but at the things which are eternal. In Romans 5, I often talk about, as you see, the progression of maturity that God brings into a life. It starts when we take steps of faith. And I trust you are living a life right now in which you're endeavoring to do right, to really be in the Word, as God shows you the Word, to step out by faith and believe God to work. But the thing that we find in the passage is that faith is going to cause tribulation to come. Our faith is going to be tested because we're going against Satan's will. Our flesh is going to react. And God allows oftentimes trials to really substantiate our faith. And so in this passage it says, and not only so, but we glory in tribulations also. You notice that, glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation worketh patience. Now we've already talked about patience, the importance of that, enduring faith. That is great faith. It's faith that continues on even when we're disappointed. We don't see the answer. Doesn't seem like the steps of faith we've taken really are working out. But we look to the Lord, and God begins to meet with us. God begins to show His reality. And the next aspect here in this progression is that patience worketh experience. It's the idea of authenticating our faith. It is the idea of the fact that we begin to experience genuine reality in the spiritual realm. God meets with us, and then He begins to show us His answers. Our faith begins to become productive from our perspective, but even before that, we experience God. And that's why the Bible says, glory in tribulation. That's quite a thought there. We endure tribulation, and that's true, and we put up with it and we accept it. But here it says we are to glory in it. Why? Because you're going to grow in your understanding of how real the spiritual realm is. When everybody else is afraid, you've got peace. When everyone else is worried, you've got confidence that God's going to work. When there is the instability economically, you know that God is going to provide every need. He's going to give you daily bread. He's going to give you wisdom. In the uncertainties ahead, God will give us the discernment to know how to respond. And with the limitations, we begin to realize the endless spiritual possibilities within our family, and even through the opportunities we have to spread the gospel, that God's going to work, and prayer comes alive, and we realize that we're touching the world through spiritual reality. Now, folks, that's why we should glory in this tribulation. Don't live boxed in by your frustration, but let God show you that this is a time to realize He's real, to shed that limited temporal thinking, and to expand into the reality of an infinite God. It is great to be a Christian, and I want to encourage you to think all day long about the fact that you need to glory in tribulation.